And we are live. Good afternoon, viewers at home or listeners on the road. This is episode 4 of the BS Podcast.
I'm Blaze.
And I'm Shard. And we're here to give you your weekly dose of bullshit. We got one of a selection for you guys. Stories you did today, light topics to talk about. Similar to if you joined us for episode 1, this is gonna be another one of those light topic episodes. But enough of the small stuff. Let's get right into it. Blaze, you want to kick us off?
Yeah. So as stated before, this week is not going to be anything like cohesive like the last two with particular topics. We might have these episodes once in a while, calling it News Mayhem, where we have a collection of topics, or if you guys want us to talk about something, feel free to comment down below and we'll look into it for the next Mayhem, assuming the news cycle hasn't passed it.
Of course, like if they want to talk about certain things that requires its own dedicated stream, then you definitely don't want us to talk about those in a news mayhem, where especially like in like heavily sensitive based topics or things of great controversy. To be fair.
Well, yeah, those deserve their own video. But just to get the ball rolling, let's do our first topic on today. Now, this topic is mainly targeted to my fellow gamers out there, my fellow entertainment enthusiasts with the virtual space. So recently, as is probably well been established for the last couple of weeks, 2 new games has been released to the general public, and 2 new games has now reaching their unfortunate demise within weeks of that to this very day. Those 2 games consist of the Overwatch ripoff Concord and a pretty, lack of better words, dog shit excuse for a story title called Dustborn. And no, my fellow Soulsborne fans out there, this is not a Souls-like. This is just a really, really bad game for whatever reason using the word born. So don't confuse the two. I made that mistake when I first heard it until I watched the clips. But anyway, let's talk about Concord first, because that seemed to be the biggest victim in this unfortunate capitalist society that we call the rightful society. Anyway, Concord was released 2 weeks ago on July 18th, which is a Sunday for some of you. And it marketed itself it's basically structured as a similar Overwatch type game, where it's like a champion shooter, where each character has their own particular class, skills, whatnot, alongside their own unique weapons catered towards them. Now, the problem is that outside the typical obvious connection that you see in any other game that copies the formula of another, it's a character champion shooter. Concord marketed itself for its diverse cast, for its unique and its in diversity in all of its in its champions.
That was honestly, like before we even get into it, that probably was his first mistake. In a gaming world where it's all about getting an escape, focusing on diverse cast, video game players is probably the dumbest thing you could ever promote your thing on. Like nothing you said has anything to do with the game besides its cast, rather than actual gameplay, mechanics, its style, maybe even genre. None of that shit.
And trust me, we'll get into that. But the problem, which yes, you hit the nail on the head in that front, but we'll get into that in a moment after we cover Dustborn. Now, for Concord, the problem with Concord wasn't the quote-unquote diverse cast itself, as one would assume with the other dog water content that's been released in recent memory. The real problem when it came to Concord was the fact that not only was it very uninteresting, the characters were poorly designed, even with that even ignoring that diversity, equity nonsense that it promoted itself with. It did not have a lot of like anything standing out. It was truly a Overwatch clone, but with none of the flair. And the thing is, and the irony is that Overwatch itself was realistically a diverse cast of characters. You had characters from all over the world, from all different backgrounds. Each their design actually fits their particular theme or motif. Like Tracer, the lovely, bubbly British girl who who's like a speedster. Like it comes in, comes out, a glass cannon type thing, or rather more of a blitzkrieg kind of thing. That. But then you had characters like this big blue like chunky dude who basically a discount heavy from Team Fortress 2, where he has these machine guns, but he looks like a giant dude who just got dipped in a bat of blue cyan paint. Like he just took a bath and got permanent skin changes.
He took a bath in cyanide, brother. No, you got it right. He took a bath in cyanide.
Yeah, I know what I said. And if you really, and to make matters worse, on release now, the game itself, right? Obviously being new, obviously that it probably wouldn't have a decent chance to show itself and gain an audience yet. However, it likely wouldn't have this problem since it was marketing on the same type of audience who played Overwatch or other hero shooters. The problem here is that because the game itself didn't have any uniqueness or anything to stand out amongst its competitors, its overall top peak player count was 660. And for those who don't play games, keep this in mind. This is bad. It did not is a free to play game. To be fair, no. Correction. It's not a free to play game, unlike Overwatch now, at least. Overwatch 2. It's not a free-to-play game, so you're actually paying money into this game, and the game itself is bland. And again, we can talk about the diversity, the DEI parts to it, and the marketing. While yes, itself definitely play a role in its downfall, it isn't. I don't think that was the smoking gun. However, and we look at games like Dustborn, which, as it currently stands, is still active. It hasn't shut down or anything like that. I'm not entirely, and although it also isn't a free-to-play game, it's like roughly $30-something on Steam, I believe. Oh, maybe 25. I didn't check. I forgot when I recently checked.
I don't really imagine it being too expensive, to be fair.
It's not an expensive game, to be fair, And unlike Concord, which managed to get at least 600 plus players at the very least, despite its downfall, Dustborn was practically dead on arrival, peaking at 76 players and 25 in the last hour, to be fair. Excuse me. This is bad. If 660 players for Concord was bad, freaking 76 is just downright atomically worse. And unlike Concord, Dustborn's problem heavily shot into the whole DEI rhetoric and messaging within this game. Now, quick disclaimer, messaging, a certain message or conversations or topics or themes within media, not just video games, but other forms of entertainment, isn't new, it isn't outlandish, and it isn't out of nowhere. That part isn't the problem. So when you have a game that has a particular message, like let's take the biggest example, Wall-E, right? Wall-E is a pretty classic example, and although its main draw was its robot romance with Wall-E and Eva, right?
No, it's Eve.
Doesn't Wall-E say Eva?
Yeah, but she's constantly saying like, okay, you remember the scene when they first met, and then there was this changed name. There was like Eve was like Eve. It is.
You gotta watch that. It's either Eva. Point is Eve. What do you say Eve?
I'm pretty sure it's fucking. I'm looking this up. Continue talking.
Anyway, in Wall-E, right, although its main plot was the relationship between
It's
Wally
Eve.
and
It's Eve, fuck nugget.
you're saying fuck nugget. It's a simple mistake because that's how Wally said it. Anyway, despite its main plot being the romance part with returning humans back to Earth, the actual hidden detail and the messaging behind Wally was corporatism and consumerism, where the whole story starts off right from the get-go telling you that the Earth is screwed because there's garbage everywhere, trash. Heck, there's trash orbiting the planet by the time we zoom in on the planet, and by the time Wally leaves Earth following Eve to the ship, like corporatism and consumerism was a massive messaging of what happens in its logical conclusion when it gets to its extremes. But Dustborn in this case wouldn't have this problem with his messaging if it wasn't so preachy about it. And that's the biggest thing about it. Like from the first 5 minutes of the game, you're open up with this scene where the main character, what you play as this punk-ish black woman with this stereotypical haircut that, quite frankly, I think I myself am a bit tired of seeing, which is a whole nother tangent, by the way. I could
probably get the picture though.
But this character, you open up with a scene where you're in this, you and your little band, just singing about basically the genocide of their enemies, or we're looking at it for calling $1.50 here, which was straight white dudes. Because there's actually a scene that was leaked, this gameplay footage that was leaked prior to its release, where these two NPCs, where the main character you're playing as, you are talking to these two NPCs, presumably cops, and they were asking, mind you, we have no context of what led to this or what happens afterwards. We know that in that moment, the main character was being asked about information related to the other character who was black, which the officers described him as, hey, the black kid who dresses up as a writer, which I guess is a type of person in that setting. In terms of I guess their little identification classification, whatever the heck, and it's just the black guy, which would, at least to me, would presume, not just to distinguish who, right? There's a feature where you could get triggered, which that's a 2016, 2015 type term. Yep, and you get triggered, and without any provocation, the main character calls the officer a racist. And you guys can't see me because there's no webcam, but I'm shaking my head thinking, what? How is it racist to bring up a immutable characteristic, an identifying characteristic, when searching for information? It's not as if the officer was asking or accusing. Mind you, we have no context what led to this. So in that moment you're watching, you gotta ask, what exactly was racist about him asking about a associate of the main character who was black, and just asking for information that seemingly had nothing to do with the character's race. The character, the black one who dresses up as a writer.
You could tell. People in these things, who make these games, clearly are either not black or they never experienced true racism from a police officer in their life in relation to a cop. Because, God fucking damn, if something like this is worthy of being called racist in a game, pattern recognition is the best skill to have, because you just see this shit for so long that you start to question how the fuck does this gets past the boardroom.
And it doesn't stop there, and it does not stop there, because this game just gets worse. And mind you, I don't when we talk about the weird genocide rhetoric with the intro part, the first 5 minutes of the game, a random clip of the scene.
Who are they being genocidal about?
Like, okay, I don't remember the lyrics off the top of my head, but there was a point where they said that your time will end, or your actually, let me look that up. But
I know there was like a whole racist song that came from it.
Hear the lyrics, right? Your past your due, we will eclipse you. We're the aliens, we're the refugee, we walk among you, we're right behind you. Your time is past, your kind won't last. Your kind won't last. Like
that is so racist.
No. Here's the thing. I'll read from beginning to end. It's not a long song, right? It's not long. The lyrics are not that long.
Keep in mind, for copyright laws, we would not be playing the actual song to placate this. Go ahead.
Not that it matters, because we don't need to. It starts from we are the freaks, we're the outcasts, we're nothing like you. You're past your due, we will eclipse you. We're the aliens, we're the refugees, we walk among you. We're right behind you. Your time is past. Your kind won't last. We're the dustborn. This bug is airborne. We're the new porn. Our kind is newborn.
Wait, you say wait. You say we're the new porn?
I think this is the chorus where it says, "We're the dustborn. The bug is airborne. We're the new porn."
Porn, like we're talking pornography.
I don't. That's the thing. I don't know why there's no like.
Like what the fuck does that even mean? We're the new porn.
Even to someone like me, who's tried to like, who listens to a lot of music and understands a lot about musical theory and try to find a meaning behind the message. There's nothing behind that phrase. We're the new porn. I really don't know where that came from, but it's not relevant. It's the fact that in the middle of the song, it's calling out their opponents, which, within the context of the game, is obviously the quote unquote naturalistic white America, apparently.
Keep in mind, we're black and we're saying, "Oh, this shit is fucking." This is.
Yeah, hold that thought. But like this phrase, like your kind won't last, your time is past. Like, are you insinuating that your movement or your goal is to eradicate your opponents to non-existence? I don't know what that's supposed to mean, other than what it says on the card. Like, it says it on itself. Now, granted, I will say that maybe that there are going to be some people who will try to argue that it's not supposed to be taken seriously, it's satirical, it's on that. But the question I have is, what's the satire? What's the messaging here? Because it's not a secret that the game was made. Ironically, fun fact, this game was inspired by the 2016 election. Nothing else. Like, it was inspired by that.
Are you talking about like between Trump and Hillary?
Yep. This was inspired by that prior to Trump's election, during the 2016 election. And this game has been in production for 8 total years. And in this game,
8 total years for to die on arrival. That's fucking tragic.
Oh yeah, and mind you, we're just talking about this intro song. There are 2 other scenes that there are 2 other parts in the game that I want to cover. Like, there's this one scene where this robot, right? Not an android, not a cyborg, nothing. It's a robot, right? Simplistic AI technology. Again, there's no context prior to this. We just see the scene as it is, but it opens up with this robot pulling up to the crew of you and your crew in a bus, trying to say, "Hey, I will be the driver. I will take you to your destinations." And mind you, he pulls up, says nothing, and your character that you're playing as, the first thing is, what's that phrase? Like, why is that or some other type of term classification is driving the bus? And is, by the way, side note, when they use like particular descriptors or adjectives, like black with the earlier scene with the 2 NPCs, or with this word, I don't remember the top of my head, with the robot, it's it's all capitalized, and we're supposed to, in writing, supposed to symbolize emphasis or something like that. And it's like, why though? Just why? And mind you, just like, it's basically like the term, and since emphasis on this word, which again I don't remember off the top of my head because I didn't play it, I don't want to play it, but I saw the scenes on Twitter, and it's like this emphasis, like, is this supposed to be like a slur? Is this supposed to be like some classification? Why are you calling this robot, which seems a bit friendly in my opinion, just this harsh word? On top of that, a scene that happens like a little bit after that is that the character is trying to exclaim their disapproval of this robot, like driving their truck or something like that. The robot comes up behind the character, the main character, and says, "Hey, I'm willing to take, do the best I can at my ability. I will maximize my proficiency with this particular job, and I wish to be of service." Right? All friendly, all kindness, like not saying anything outlandish, right? And you know what she does? Like, you don't have no other buttons, by the way. I forgot to say this. In the earlier scene, you could make other options with like, oh, you're racist, cops, whatever the heck. But in this scene, you have no options. Your only option to react to the character was saying, "Do not," just aggressively and angrily say, "Do not touch me," with with this like really like aggressive tone, to the point where you're basically seen as is like the bad guy here. Like, why are you getting aggressive on a robot that seems rather friendly and done no wrong? And the last scene that is like the cream of the crop of just utter nonsense is this scene where, now context, apparently these group of people are starting to gather and integrate to this particular home base like zone that your team and crew live at. And there's this one character, this redheaded ginger, that's trying to say, "Hey, these people, I don't trust these people. They could be a potential danger. We have to be more. We have to get them out of here because a lot of problems are going on and things are getting out of hand." And and outside of its obvious reference of what it's trying to portray here, it's not an unreasonable reaction when you have a bunch of people showing up in your general area and stuff goes down after the fact. Now, does it correlate? Not always, but you see my point. In this scene,
that's something. I mean,
yeah,
I wouldn't say like. Put it this way: they fucked up their own way because gingers got no souls.
But okay, any by that. So in this scene, you're basically encouraged. Again, you don't have a lot of options otherwise. But you're basically trying to. And by the way, there's like a comic book like feature where it's like you have the character's inner monologue just pop up in random parts of the screen out to like a comic book, like, oh, I'm thinking this kind of thing. If you read enough comics, you know what I'm talking about. And in those internal thoughts, it's basically suggesting to the player to find ways to make her the bad guy, make her the seen as the aggressor, make her seem delirious and saying hateful words. Basically, try and make her the bad guy for no reason, who's probably having general concerns. And this feature where basically you're implanting this type of controller, you're implanting this stuff in her brain, this beam into her brain, which apparently no one can see going on. And then after it goes through, you're basically gaslighting her and everyone around her that she's the enemy, even though if based on the content of the game, it's 100% true, and she had reasonable concerns, and yet she's made the bad guy for no reason, all because it's happened to a group of people that isn't well liked, yada yada yada. Obvious parallels with immigration, yada yada yada. Now, I would go on and on, but like I said, I never played this game, and I never will. And for some of you out there who want to say, "Oh, if I never played it, why am I trashing on it?" Well, one issue with the thing is, when you play enough games, you can recognize a bad game without buying it. That's why a lot of these companies get show off gameplay clips towards near their release, towards like the later few months of their release date, so that people have a good idea of what they're getting into. And even without that, trailers, marketing, you can tell a bad game from just looking. Secondly, is also and speaking of marketing, the game is very, very politicized. And unlike what I said with Concord, unlike I said at the beginning about this with Dustborn, where you can have your messaging, the problem is, one, Concord, it just seems a little too, like, it's so in it that you would think it's a parody on itself. And it's just, and I could go on and on for days about this, but, you know, it's not that deep of a topic, at least not to me, where it needs an episode. But I'm sure we'll come back to Dustborn one day and look back on it and say, wow, this game truly is utter trash.
Speaking of trash, we got ourselves a different story to talk about today. One I think is highly hilarious, but also sets a very dangerous precedent. Now, if you've done the internet for, brother, I assume you've been on the internet, you've been looking at Concord, but it does spawn bullshit. So let me paint you a little picture. You and I play a lot of video games where money is a very common resource within the game. That much is true. So, and typically, when games do this, they do it in the way of, let's just say, they're trying to, encourage you to spend your resources wisely or something like that. Like every game has a money system in the game where you have to, where you get cash via doing missions, just basically playing the game. Not real world money, but all the same. But in every game, so often you'll find a little handy little cheat called the infinite money glitch. If you play Assassin's Creed Unity, you can essentially get infinite money, large amounts of money, very quickly in the beginning of the game. If you played games like GTA, there's cheat codes to get yourself a lot of money. So what if I told you that it is currently discussed in real life to get your hands on large amounts of money in the shortest amount of time, and it not being a crypto scam, at least not on the surface. Ladies and gentlemen, and my dear brother Blaze, I present to you the quote-unquote infinite money glitch that is currently shaking up the American public by storm. And if you do know what this is, just know that if you ever think about doing this little action, you will essentially be committing a felony. So here's how it works. And this has been surface played because this has been relatively publicized by TikTok, because of fucking course it is, where apparently if you write yourself a bogus check saying a large amount of money this and deposit in the bank, the system will not be able to recognize that bogus check, at least not immediately, meaning that you could essentially be, quote-unquote, giving yourself thousands upon thousands of dollars. Now, how it works, however, is that the system, how it should work is that if the system could not recognize a check the moment you put it in as faulty, it will eventually do it shortly after it gets put in because it needs time to process, the bank information, all that stuff, all that type of jizz, right? Here's where the money glitch comes in. Because the system doesn't immediately recognize the fault, as far as the bank is concerned, you got to check for, let's just get an arbitrary number, $30,000, right?
Mm-hmm.
What these dumb motherfuckers be doing nowadays, and it's funny, this is happening to a lot of black people. Like, these are black people doing this, so it doesn't surprise me that this is happening. But what fucking is what these guys realize, they will fucking withdraw the money, thinking that, if I do this, and the bank add the money to my account, I'm secure, right? No. Now you essentially put yourself in $1,000 of debt, where you have to pay that bank back. Which, if you know how these people operate, you'll know that these people also, frankly, will not be paying that money back. And it's just the imagination. And what ends up happening is that, here's a little bit of a conundrum. You commit check fraud. What they're doing is basically committing check fraud. Commit check fraud to where you technically aren't supposed to write faulty checks. Checks are supposed to be record keeping for how much money a certain place is being deposited towards an account or a business account. And by doing this, as I said before, these people are put themselves in like $1,000 of debt. And the big concern that I have for this, that this is happening so often and such a high rate that a lot of people, like, put it this way, if you're not getting arrested for this, you're sure as hell gonna lose. You're sure as hell is gonna be in deep scrutiny, because trying to scam a financial institution like banks, this is happening a lot during Chase, but I know that Huntington Bank and First Bank of America, something like that, is also dealing with this issue. Like, trying to scam my financial institution that which in its basic form is supposed to manage money, it's probably the dumbest thing anybody could ever do. Now, as I said, this is popular on places like TikTok and Twitter. And the problem is, even though 9 times out of 10, you're going to get in trouble and this whole glitch doesn't work, there are rare cases where it does work and people walk away scot-free. At least that's what it's supposed to be. At least that's what they think, because what these dumbasses realize, that they're recording their crimes on the internet. Now, you can go on and talk mad shit about their actions, or questioning how is it they able to succeed in actually making it work with little to no consequences. You cannot excuse the fact that you're literally recording your crime in public. And what's funny is that the more people that record these actions, the more people that's doing this type of shit, I swear to God, it's just like, I swear to God, it's amazing. It's just lawsuit after lawsuit, charges of charges, crimes after crimes. Like, it's almost laughable. And you can tell people who be doing this be splurging all that cash they got on shit that they could never afford on their own. Like, it's amazing. Like, I read a story, like, when I was researching this, I heard a story about a guy who literally did this glitch to pay off his debt. Now he's literally twice in debt than he originally was. I'm thinking to myself, like, you dumb motherfucker, you literally screwed yourself out because of this. The fuck? Crack is cheap. To quote Michelle Obama, crack is cheap. I think that was her that said. I think that was her that said that.
The thing now with the infinite money glitch, right? Like, you said they're doing this on TikTok. Do they not think that if they broadcast their criminal acts, then do they not gonna get caught? Like, I remember I remember a TikTok clip running around the internet of this dude basically talk about their loans and taking loans off of these banks or something like that, or these credit cards, and paying for these $1 million, these thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollar like items, or maybe even like $1 million homes, and all of a sudden, like, and they say, "Oh, I made all these frauds. I can avoid paying it back because I did this falsifying stuff." Right?
Yeah. These dumbasses don't realize what they're doing. Essentially, is I mean, but at the end of the day, they're committing a crime, and these people clearly.
Yeah, but it's not the fact that it's not only the fact that they're committing a crime. They're just broadcasting it. Like, they did not think they're not gonna get caught.
What?
Like, that's the thing about
if you're on TikTok and you genuinely believe the things you watch is like honest to God the most informative, the most enlightening, the most the best resource you could ever get for information that can save your goddamn life, you're a fucking idiot because you cannot tell me with a straight face that you thought, oh, let's scam an institution that literally is the base product of our entire economy to get cash in a method that is so unorthodox and so faulty that it's practically unthinkable to actually commit. Oh yeah, let's also broadcast it in this so we can share this with others. Put it this way: say this mini glitch was 100% foolproof, right? Let's say they didn't. No, there was no, even though it's still check fraud. Let's say that they didn't get caught. Let's say they didn't, get stuck in debt. Say that the faulty checks, even though they're frauds, the faulty checks resulted in them getting lots of money. First of all, we would only see a spike in the economy that is obviously would not be there, but by post, more than enough people do it, then eventually they're going nuts, and we're going to have even more of an economic problem than we already are. And of course, yeah, that's not the worst of it. But say with all these conditions in mind, say everything was going absolutely perfect for these fuckers. Like, by sharing the information to other people, not only just practically just expose your crime, but what they don't realize is that what they're doing, effectively speaking, is like the more you share it, the more likely that the people you want to hide it from will figure it out. Because I don't know if you know this, places like banks or other financial institutions are like really on top of their game when it comes to the social media presence. They will, anything that's considered illegal, scam worthy, or anything like, they are on top of that. Not 100%, because people will be scamming. Obviously, when money is involved, scams are always going to be happening. I mean, look at their scam. Those telemarketers you get from India, like that. That's telling, right? But what's interesting is that
that's a legal scam. That's a legal scam, because apparently we can't have freaking business. We can't have a simple product. I don't know. The idea of just selling something on the phone calls, that's been going around long before the internet.
Never mind that. But like, as I was saying, like they were completely like on top of their game, and like if this glitch was so effective, to such a point where they could have got it. To quote Scooby-Doo, they could have gotten away with it, were for those damn kids. These motherfuckers, who are adults by the way, they might as well be kids, literally exposed themselves doing it, and they legit could have got away with it if it weren't for the fact that the obvious factor of being, oh, you're committing check fraud, which is a felony, by the way. Which is, I don't know the actual range. I believe it's between 10 to 20 years in prison minimum. But it's still a felony all the same. They could have got away with it, one for those factors, obviously, but if they just didn't record it. No, and it is. I would not bring this up on this show if it weren't for the fact that so many people as of today, I'm talking we're in the 100,000 range of numbers. So many people from young teenagers with fresh bank accounts to grown adults, what you think they know better, they are getting themselves a whole large hole because of this. And what's funny is that these same people are posting their fuck ups on TikTok or on Twitter and shit. And
no one's going to be seeing what they see.
Yeah, and like, sure. If you post your faults, nothing really doesn't really make a damn difference. You're still fucked either way. But goddamn, like, you could tell, and you know the worst part is, like, you could tell these people have no sense of shame. Truly, even the ones who show off their fuck ups. But you know the worst part is, the icing on the cake with all this is that there's a possibility that some of these people who be posting this money glitch thing are just grifters and they didn't actually do it. It's like, I'm saying that they're faking, and like that means that if they're faking it and they're still promoting this nonsense to other people, and we don't, meaning at this point, what's happening is that we're getting the impression that, oh, these other people who's posting their nonsense, who posting this shit, they just fucked up somewhere and they didn't make it work. These people who are succeeding, they're making it work. No, there's a good chance that person just never did it and is lying to your face. Just how it is so easy to, with the advent of AI, it's so easy to manipulate tweets, posts, Instagram stuff, and even sometimes recordings or voiceovers. It is just as easy to fake off a bank statement to show off the supposed money you have, when in actuality, you're about as broke as the rest of us, or if that is your money, you're never going to reach that level of fame and notoriety. But, that's neither here or there. I would get more into it for today's episode, but as of right now, the IRS and by extension the FBI is also getting involved in this whole thing. Really, I can't even say FBI, honestly, but I do know the IRS is, because obviously this shit is affecting a lot. It must be affecting the economy in some way. Well, I don't know the IRS has anything to do with that. It is affecting it in such a way that, people are doing things like also committing tax fraud in relation to this as well. But that's honestly a minor story that even for another episode, this wouldn't even warrant like 10 minutes worth of talking. So really, there's really not much to go forward to, but you can argue that it could be better. But it's neither here and there. Honestly,
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, in terms of substance, that's what I gotta say. Anything you want to elaborate on that, bro? Like, anything you want to comment on in regards to that?
Honestly, there really isn't much for me to like comment on, because, quite frankly, I think it's more of a case of, hey, this I don't how do I say this? Like, I think it's a case of, hey, this is we're in a situation where people are just, I don't know, just willingly letting themselves get into this paradigm where they just think they can just cheat the systems that set them up in the first place. Like, no, it ain't that easy. It ain't that simple. You ain't gonna try to cheat the system that's been going around for, well, frankly, ages. It's not that easy. And the creme de la creme about this is that they the funny thing, they always think they're slick about it. That's what bothers me about it. They always think they're slick because God forbid that anyone call them out or catch them on their nonsense, because holy heck, they're just
asking for trouble at this point. I mean, first of all, I want to know who the fuck found out about this glitch, and why the fuck are they thinking Oh, we can cheat. We can cheat the system. We can pay off our money. We can pay off our debt. We can do all this type of shit, thinking it's actually going to work, but in actuality, it isn't. That's what I want to know. Who the fuck discovered this shit? Because obviously, that one person. Let's assume they got away with it. This fucking domino effect of people committing fraud, like. Honestly, I'll be more surprised that by the end of this year, our prisons ain't overrun with people arrested all because of check fraud. And you know what? With the advent of people going to jail for this, you can tell the dating scheme is going to be fucked up too, because now you're technically more likely to date a felon than anything else. This is technically a felony, so by definition, they are a felon, and it just
well. To be fair, it's not like some people aren't necessarily turned off by someone being a felon if memory serves me right.
I know. There's plenty of people who have no issues dating a felon, even though there's every reason under the fucking sun not to date a felon. But what do I know? That's honestly all my political I got for today's episode. You got anything else to talk about, brother?
Not necessarily. However, so I want to instead of a different topic, I have a topic that, quite frankly, I think will be relevant for the future of for the next potential episode. That being. For next week's episode, and normally, folks, I would have these episodes like how do I say? I will have these episodes sort of like planned behind the scenes as to not how do I say this? As to not like
overwhelm.
No, I wouldn't say overwhelm, but pigeonhole me into pigeonhole me into like a schedule outside my own. Because yes, folks, we have lives. Rather, I want to prem this for next week because it's going to be it's very relevant to our current modern day situation when it comes to politics. It'll come to our situation, and that is the current election cycle with Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. Now, it's no secret that Trump and Harris have been on this rather interesting, shall we say, tirade when it comes to the type of campaign, right?
Honestly, this whole fucking election is a fucking joke to me.
Oh yes, it will always be a joke. It always will be a joke as long as.
Yeah, bro. Someone's calling me right now. You know who it fucking is? It's literally labeled telemarketer. It's literally I'm fucking blocking this.
But in any case,
no, oh god, that's fucking pathetic. I was just talking mad shit about them, and these fuckers called me. Oh my god, the Illuminati is real. They want to call me for shit like this. I talk mad shit about on one time, and next they want to fucking leave. They want to leave me alone.
But ultimately, so next week we're going to talk about Kamala Harris, particularly her and her campaign and what they're not doing, because disclaimer, it doesn't matter what political, we don't care about your particular affiliation with politics, but at the same time, I at least, since politics is mostly my MO compared to Shard here, I want to at least address the elephant in the room of how particular particular strategies and lack thereof in terms of policies are being portrayed to the media, and how people are likely going to vote for her without actually knowing what she stands for. But I'll leave that for next week, as that will be an episode that will have a lot of time dedicated to it.
Of course, obviously, Shaw speech is going on saying, but if you find our episodes of being a bit more like, out there, I hope this next week's episode should be a bit more cohesive, congruent, and most importantly, more informative than what we usually do, albeit with a speck of actual entertaining commentary. Because like me, if you're like me, you really don't give a shit about politics. I don't blame you. That shit's boring. It's fucking annoying. That's here or there. But to close things off, thank you so much for tuning in today's episode. If you like what you heard today, be sure to hit the subscribe button. Go to the comment section to share your thoughts. Share with the friends of your family, your dog. Who gives a shit? Share it to someone. And you want to see more, hit the notification and buy the subscribe button so you never miss your next episode.
And well, that being said,
well, this is why no, this is why I do outros. Well, until next time, ladies and gentlemen,
I'm Blaze.
And I'm Shard. And this has been your weekly
dose of bullshit.
We gotta work on that.